Hello, this is Mr. Bryce, and today I'm going to show you how to do a couple things on the calculator involving the ideas we're looking at this week, including the 5-number summary and how to make a box plot on here. So first thing I did, just like we do all the time in here, is I need to go to Stat and Edit and tell it what data I want it to look at. This data is from page 164 in our book, and it describes the finishing times in minutes of the men's 60 to 64-year-old age group in a 5K. So this is how long it took them to finish the 5K. What I want to do is get an idea of what this data is like and kind of get some descriptions of it. And most of this stuff, if you remember, is in stat calc. And then one var stats here will compute all of these things for you. So it copies and pastes it, and it computes all this stuff. It computes the sample mean. These are just the sums of all the things and all the things squared. The sample and population standard deviation, remember that they're different, and it depends on which it is. And I can scroll down here, and it will tell me, well, n is how many things are in the set, how many entries we have. And then it has these 5 numbers here. Those 5 numbers are the 5-number summary. So what 5 numbers are these? Well, the minimum is the smallest entry. The maximum is the biggest entry. And the median, if you remember from last week, is the entry that's in the middle if you put all the entries in order. We also have Q1 and Q3. And these are quartiles. And these have the same relation to these two things as the median has to the min and the max. So just like the median is in the middle, right between the minimum and the maximum, Q1 is in the middle between the minimum and the median. And Q3 is in the middle between the median and the maximum. So these kind of separate our data into kind of 4 pieces. And each of those pieces has 25% of the data in it. So these are, like I said, quartiles because there's 4 of them. These are related to percentiles in that this is the 0th percentile, 25th, 50th, 75th, 100th percentile. A way we can draw this, or a way we can draw a picture of this 5-number summary, is by making a box plot. And I gave you some things that explain what that is, and the book talks about it as well. But what I would like to do is show you how to do it on here. And again, I've already got my data in here, so it already knows what I'm doing. First thing we need to do if we want to make a box plot is we need to tell it what kind of plot to make. And our plots are all up in stat plot right here, so second stat plot. It gives you several different plots that you can draw. And what we're going to do is we're going to edit this first one so it's what we want. So just hit enter to edit that one. We can toggle it on and off later, so don't worry about that. But the type, there's a bunch of different types. You might, if you took college algebra here, you might remember this being a scatter plot. Right? There's also a histogram. If you want to put in data, and it can draw a histogram or box graph for you. But we care about these right here. This is just a box plot where you have these 5 vertical lines that stand for your 5-number summary numbers. What we want is this one. So we're just going to scroll over to that one and pick that one. What this is it's a box plot, but the outliers are these little points right here. And if you remember what an outlier is, again, from this week's stuff, an outlier is something that's outside the fences. So remember, the lower fence is 1.5 interquartile ranges less than the first quartile, and the upper fence is 1.5 interquartile ranges above the upper fence, or the third quartile, or I'm sorry, the third quartile. So this is going to be better because it's not going to take into account any outliers here. So that's the one we want. Down here, our X list is just the list that we have all our data in, which is L1. This you're never going to have to change. And this just tells you what kind of dots you want. So I don't care what kind of dots I have, so I'll just pick that. All right, so now that we defined what we want here, we can go back to y equals, which is where if you were graphing, say, a function, you'd put your function here. But we're going to turn on plot 1, and to do that, you just scroll up to it and hit enter. And it toggles it on and off. Now, something you're going to have to remember is if you're ever in another class, or if you're ever not using this stat plot, if you're ever not using this to graph stats things, you want to go back up here and turn this plot off, because that'll give you errors and stuff if you try to graph a bunch of things at once. If you don't have this plot defined, it'll give you an error. So just to be safe, turn this off if you're not using it right now. But we are using it right now, so we'll turn that on. We don't have any functions to graph, so we don't have to worry about that. And we need the right window, and our window is zoom, and then down here is stat, way down at the bottom here. So number 9 is zoom stat. So hit 9 and it'll zoom to that. And here is a picture of our box plot. This basically is the 5-number summary, but ignoring this point over here, which is an outlier, right? And we can tell things from this box plot. We can tell things like, for example, this data is skewed right. There's more stuff to the right of this median than there is to the left. So yeah, this is kind of just a quick way of telling just some things about your data, and it gives you a good picture to kind of start looking at. So you can start taking the video quiz. The password is this, Globe71. Remember, that's when you take the video quiz, it'll ask you for a password. That's what it is. As always, if you have any questions on this stuff, make sure you let me know. Give me an email at briceg@nfcc.edu or stop by my office before class, and I will see you in class.